Hi, everybody. It's John Moroney from Goldwell and KMS, and I am here at the Goldwell KMS Academy in London. And we're here with Goldwell's Global Styling Ambassador, Mr. Daniel Martin, who is an editorial session stylist based here in London. And he is going to share with us another technique for creating beautiful classic volume in fine, skinny hair. So, Daniel, what are we going to do with this look?
Hey John, so this is actually a really old-fashioned technique. I'd love to call it a trick, but it's not. It's been around since the day since. And basically it's a round brush blow dry, but it's about choosing the right brush, the right size Velcro roller, and getting that roller in there as soon as the hair's hot and dry, so that it locks it in and we get some volume straight at the root. Katerina's not an old lady, so I don't want anyone to think that just because we're using rollers it's an older person thing, because it's such an old technique to use. She's young, she's late 20s, early 30s. So I've chosen a brush size which is not too large, this one here. The bristles aren't too stiff because it's fine hair. I don't want to overstretch the hair. I'm going to use the hairdryer without the nozzle, and I've gone for this size Velcro roller. I'm not looking for a curl, I'm just looking for a bend in the hair and a nice bit of volume at the roots. Not too much, just enough that she feels glamorous and done without being excessive.
So, real quick, I just want to come back to what you said about the brushes and that you're using a soft bristle rather than something too hard because you don't want to overstretch it. And I think a lot of people tend to think, and probably even clients especially, think a round brush is a round brush. So maybe you can give us just a very quick, when you would use what?
Yeah, this is the difference. So with ceramic brushes that have very little grip in hair, I use them in super fine hair. Really thick hair, really curly hair, afro hair, I would go for something like this, which is a lot stronger bristle. Not particularly this size, depends on the hair length as well. That also alters as we go through. And then for a medium length hair, I've even got another example. So if we look at them, there's the three here. We've got a really stiff bristle, a slightly semi-medium bristle, and then a super soft bristle. If you feel them, you can actually feel the difference between each one. And the difference is
much softer.
exactly. So this is going to create a lot more tension in the hair and pull and smooth the cuticle out more. Whereas this one's going to smooth the cuticle but not overstretch it. And the super fine one, we don't. It's straight hair. We don't need to stretch the cuticle to an inch of its life. No, because that's the problem. People kill hair. They stretch the cuticle to an inch of its life, and when you do that, you lose the volume, not creating volume.
So let's get started on Katerina's hair. So again, I think that we all know that blow dry the section and then put the Velcro rollers on. I think a lot of stylists blow dry the whole head and then put the
Do you know what? That's the big problem. You must put the Velcro roller in while the hair is hot. Think of hair as like jelly. When you're making a jelly, you make it as a liquid outside in the warmth with warm water, and then you put it in the fridge, and as it cools down, it sets and goes hard. Obviously, hair's not jelly, but that's my good explanation of how you need to set hair in a similar way. You get it hot and dry, and you put it in the fridge and let it cool down. The longer you leave it in there, the longer you leave it to cool, the better the set's going to be, and the longer it will last.
So there you go. It's hair tips and cooking tips from Daniel Martin. Okay, so now obviously product plays a part, but because since this is fine hair, I think you have to be really careful about what type of product you use. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, fine hair, I try not to overload it with products. And personally for myself, I'm working with the new Kerasilk style range, which is like a really beautiful blow dry. It's a great blow dry. I'll go through which one I've used, but there's a whole selection, and generally they're all light, they're all touchable, and they're all about lift and volume, but without feeling heavy, clogged down hair. So, and today on Katerina, for this look, I've used the volumizing bodying. If I said that right, the volumizing body mousse. Just run that through from roots to tips. Not too much of it. If she still had fine hair but a lot more density of hair, then I would use a bit more. I suppose for this amount, I probably used a small handful. As mousse comes out for her whole head. Yeah, I didn't want to overload it.
So that is the modified volume mousse here from the new Kerasilk.
That's the one. Yeah. So just that's my foundation. So any blow dry, any set, any kind of style you're going to do, it always helps to have a really good foundation. And the foundation starts off with a great product, and then it's all about the technique and how you decide to finish it. Now, trick, sorry, this is getting hot. The roots are dry. You've got to get the hair really hot. The hotter it is, the better, but don't burn it. Lock the hair in, roll it down, and heat it up. Really, really heat it up. Try not to burn yourself or the client, whoever's doing the blow drying. Then also come around from behind and hit the roots. So we're pushing it in the opposite direction. We're just heating that up, ventilating almost through. And then the trick is get this out and get the roller in really quickly. Pull it up, lock it in. Make sure the ends are locked in and that they're not buckling. Little trick as well, hands either side, roll down, and you can see the way that actually pushes the hair into the roller. What some people end up doing is having the hair falling out either side. That's because you're doing it on the inside. Get your hands inside and almost use your fingers as like a funnel, that it funnels the hair into the middle of the roller. Hold that in place. Some Velcro rollers you don't need a clip. I personally do like to use a clip because I like to keep the tension. If you go ask Katerina, there's a tension here. This tension here, like all of them, is helping to create the volume. We're pulling the hair away from the root. And when you're doing that, you're creating what fundamentally will be our volume afterwards. We hope.
So now you've already pre-done the rest of her hair. So now these are nice and cool, and we can start dropping these.
Exactly. And the trick is just gently go through, untuck. So there's two slightly smaller rollers at the bottom, purely because her hair's in a bob. It's a long bob, but they are our shortest pieces. That I didn't want to not bend under, so to speak.
So you're literally just letting the hair fall out. You're
Exactly.
not doing anything with it yet.
Nothing. If I wanted a bigger look, I may, as each section goes, brush a little bit and then slightly back comb it. She's late 20s, early 30s. I don't want to give her an over-the-top do. She doesn't need it. But for someone else, if they want more volume, do that as a trick. Take it out, slightly brush it, get your brush in at the root, give a little volume. With a slight, you don't even need to use a comb. If you want to use a comb, you can, but then you're going to get more volume.
Right.
So it's all about the volume that you want. Go. Just pulling these out. And it's always about the selection of brush size, roller size, and then also your section that you take to do per section. Your roller should be the same size as your brush, and your section that you've taken width and diameter should be the same size as the roller.
So it's really fundamental roller placement.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Back to beauty school.
Yeah, simple classics, beautiful classics that have never gone away. Here we go, coming out here.
So in your day-to-day work on set, shooting with magazines and things, how often do you employ these techniques?
Daily.
Yeah.
It's very rare I don't do a set. Even sometimes when I'm going for the most simple, classic, straight down look that I may end up pressing it with an iron, I still may do this first because this becomes beautiful, movable hair that I can work with. I'm just leaving this one in as last to take. I'm taking this one out last just purely because it went in last. I want to give it a bit more time to cool down. Ideally, I would like to leave it for half an hour minimum. We're leaving it for a little bit less than that.
Now you're using your vent brush again rather than a paddle brush or something like that.
Exactly. Good point that you'll notice this actually. So this, we're putting less tension. We've just put all of that volume in. If it's too much volume, then we could use something like a mason or something that's more bristle brush to really stretch it back out. Or if it's curlier hair, you may need to overstretch it out. Fine hair, let's be gentle with it. You can always brush it more later. Don't destroy what you've just spent however long trying to create. Actually, we can already see we've got a beautiful volume. As I said, I didn't want a curl. I wanted a slight lift, a slight bend, and a slight tuck. Last one. Just bring this across. And there we have it. A simple, very, very simple round brush blow dry done with Velcro rollers just to help set it in, and I'm going to finish it with a little bit of the texturizing finishing spray, which is just a really light. I don't want anything too sticky. I want it to be brushable. I want her to be able to touch it if she wants to. Oh, that smells so good, doesn't it?
Now, you were involved with the creation and the campaign for Carasilk Style. Tell us a little bit about how you use Carasilk Style and why you enjoy it.
Carousel, I love it because it's I can keep on working the hair. I'm not stuck in one place. So I can put it in if I'm not happy with the style or I need to change the style for an editorial. Sometimes we change up to 8 times a day. I need to rework that hair. I don't have time to keep on washing it, so I can really, really work it and build. I can build volumes on volumes with it.
So now, as you finish it, you've got a beautiful foundation. We'll turn her around so the camera can see it. Beautiful foundation for a volume blow dry on fine hair. But you could even take this further and make it even more editorial if you wanted to as well.
Do you want me to?
No, we're going to come back and do another video on
Great.
that. But it's a great. Daniel, thank you so much. Daniel Martin, Global Styling Ambassador for Goldwell, our lovely model Katerina with her beautiful voluminous hair. And thank you to Modern Salon for joining us here at the Goldwell KMS Academy in London. We'll see you soon.